Title: I discovered my girlfriend's secret messages. I knew I shouldn't look. But curiosity, or maybe fear, got the better of me. She always left her phone face down on the counter when she was cooking. That night, I told myself I was just grabbing my charger. Just flipping her phone over. Checking if she'd left anything unread. Innocent? It started innocently enough. Lena was perched on the couch playing that new dance game she'd downloaded, Dance Sphere. She'd been doing it a lot lately, laughing at herself through the mirror camera. I came in, grabbed the charger, said, "Ow. That thing is hot." She laughed, tossed me a towel, and turned back to her virtual Dance Sphere groove. 30 seconds later, her phone buzzed. The screen lit up, new chat, J, just the letter J. I saw the bubble pop up. "Missed you today." Then I panicked. I flipped the phone back over and accidentally swiped upward. Face down, so I didn't even see the passcode prompt. But I remembered her finger hovered near the home button before she paused and left the room. Seconds later, I was inside. Her messaging app blinked. The chat with J had 27 messages. And I couldn't stop myself. I opened it. Because what if she was asking me to trust her for once instead of assuming the worst? J, you there? L, sorry, got busy. J, missed you. It hasn't been the same. L, I'm tired. You know work. J, right. But I hope this means you're home soon. I closed the window fast. My heart pounded. I tried to breathe. But my hand hovered over the screen, and I opened it again. Scrolling back, I found messages that were older, weeks older. Confessions. Long paragraphs at night. You make me feel safe. I didn't think someone could care until you came around. We have to meet. And deeper stuff. Plans. Weekend mentions. When can I see you next? Nothing about me. The next morning I pretended nothing had happened. I made coffee, fed Bear, the dog, left for work. But I couldn't stop staring at my phone. Slipped it into my pocket as if it had a hold on me. That evening, I confronted her, casually, as though nothing was up. "Hey, I found a charger in the living room. Sorry if I messed up the cable." She looked up, paused the game, walked over, smiled, "It's okay. I haven't even touched it." It sounded convincing. That night, I couldn't sleep. I tried to imagine what I knew about her. Her love of early 2000s hip-hop. How she read tarot to calm down. How she cried at rain. Could she really be carrying on nightly chats with someone else while calling my name in the same breath? I didn't know what to do next. So I Googled. Reddit threads, subreddit searches like secret affair chat discovery. Most were flame wars. But one link caught my eye, how to approach secret feelings on a partner's side. I clicked. Funny, because that wasn't what I found. I found articles and stories about emotional infidelity, not just actual cheating. Articles about texting lines on the edge, "You're always on my mind, I know it's complicated." And then I found something else. A locked Google document in her browser history. The preview line on her browser, draft, to J, everything I can't say. It wasn't saved in her drive, it was a temp doc, but I could open it. And there it was, she couldn't meet him. At least, not yet. She was scared of getting caught. She wrote long paragraphs about guilt. About loving him as a friend. About how I didn't see her little cracks, how she tried to fill them with me but he saw the fractures. I felt like I was splitting in half. The next morning I asked her about it. Straight up, but calm. "Lena, can we talk about trust?" She stiffened. "What do you mean?" I mean, I dropped the charger last night. My fault. I don't. I swallowed, do we trust each other? Enough? She looked down at her coffee mug, small cracks around the rim. She closed her eyes and nodded. Yeah. I think so. This was when I realized the scars didn't show the moment they happened. Still, I had no proof. No confirmation. No answers, just things that didn't add up. Cards I dealt myself in the dark. Days passed. I waited. Watched her. Observed patterns. Times she'd be late to work or cancel dinner. Seeing her phone lighting up at the exact same time every evening. Certain names in contact lists erased. A screenshot of tickets to a show, 2 tickets, and she never mentioned going anywhere. I got suspicious. I installed a habit tracker on her laptop, under the account she let me use, that screenshot every hour. I looked through image logs to confirm meetings. There were none. Just regular life. So maybe I was paranoid. Or maybe she planned to extricate herself without leaving ghosts, without seeing. One night, she slept early. I went upstairs, laid awake, feeling sick. I checked the timestamp, 6:42 p.m. The messages from Jay had pinged that day at 6:41. Curious. I know, gross behavior. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. He said, "Meet me tomorrow. I'll give you the documents. They'll explain everything." Documents. Everything. I felt like I'd been suffocating under silence for months. At lunch the next day, I printed a paper at work labeled, "Meeting with Jay, Legal Docs." Silly? I don't know. It gave me something to hold on to. That night, she texted, "We need to talk." When she came home, she was holding her phone differently. Something in her walk changed. On the couch, she said, "I'm sorry." She started crying. Not dramatic sobs, but deep shudders. "I never meant for this to hurt you." I asked, "Truth or excuse?" She stood silent. I discovered something about my family. What they did. The lies they believed. They promised me I'd never understand. I tensed. This Jay, is that father, family, something else? She looked at me like I was trying to unwrap a gift. It's bigger. The post ends here. Yeah, cliffhanger. I know. TLDR. I discovered my girlfriend had a secret chat with someone named Jay. Messages weren't flirty, they were about documents, secrets, and something deeper than just an affair. I confronted her and she finally admitted she's caught up in something involving her family legacy and data she can't share yet. No cheating, but still maybe the worst betrayal of trust, lies hidden in plain sight. If you haven't read part 1, you'll be confused as hell. Long story short, I found secret messages on my girlfriend Lena's phone from someone named Jay. They weren't overtly romantic, just emotional. Secretive. Familiar. Then I saw a document draft, to Jay, everything I can't say. Eventually, I confronted her. She said it wasn't cheating. That it was about something bigger, something involving her family. She said, "Jay has the documents. They'll explain everything." Yeah. That's where I left off. Now here's what happened next. The next morning, I woke up alone in bed. Not unusual, Lena had a habit of waking early, walking the dog, and putting on jazz like she was living in a French film. But that morning, the house was silent. Her shoes were gone. Her coat too. I found a note on the kitchen table. "I'm not running. I'm clarifying." And under it, a time. 5:30 p.m. At the dock. The dock. We live near a reservoir, not quite a romantic lake, but enough to attract retired fishermen and couples who take engagement selfies. It was also where we'd once sat, almost drunk, watching the sunset during our first spring together. I told her I loved her there. I remember it like it's branded into me. So yeah. I knew where she meant. I worked that day like a ghost. I don't even remember if I answered any emails. I think I just clicked around, aimlessly. At 4:45, I told my manager I wasn't feeling well. No questions. I left. I drove there early. Parked far from the main lot. Watched the pier through the windshield like I was in some movie where I wasn't sure who the bad guy was. At 5:28, I saw her. She wore the blue coat I liked. The one that made her look like a sea captain in some indie film. And with her, him. Jay. He wasn't what I expected. No romantic rival vibe. He was older. Maybe mid-50s. Neatly dressed, glasses, a calm gait. Not the secret lover I'd imagined in my head while spiraling at 3 a.m. They talked for about 5 minutes. She nodded. Took a folder from him. Hugged him, not in a passion way. More like grief. Then she turned and walked toward my car like she already knew I was there. I didn't want it to go like this, she said as she got in. I didn't speak. He's my uncle. Okay. I hadn't seen that coming. Not even close. My real dad's brother. The one they told me was dead. I looked at her. Her hands shook a little, resting on her lap. Why would they lie about something like that? She looked away. Because my real dad did something awful. And Jay was the only one who knew the truth. My mom erased everything about him. And when I turned 25, I started getting letters. From Jay. At first I ignored them. But they didn't stop. So you started messaging him? Yeah. She opened the folder. Inside, photos. Scanned documents. Newspaper clippings. A few printed emails. She handed one to me. An old article. Man missing after allegations surface in investment scandal. It had her dad's name. The same man in every frame in her childhood home's picture wall. The guy I had lunch with once and who grilled me about intentions. The man she called a hero. What does this mean? It means he was planning to run. And that he may not be dead. The rest of the folder unraveled like a bad true crime documentary. Lena's dad, the one who raised her, was actually her stepdad. Her real father disappeared when she was 5. The family told her he died in a car crash, showed her an empty grave, gave her a narrative so complete she never questioned it. But Jay? Jay had saved records. Emails her father had sent from various aliases. Financial transfers. A copy of a handwritten note Lena's mother had tried to destroy. Apparently, her real dad had been involved in a major embezzlement scheme. The fallout destroyed several families. He went off the grid before he could be arrested. The family kept it hidden. Jay tracked Lena down because her name had surfaced again. Someone used her identity to open a storage unit in Seattle. I asked, why wouldn't you just tell me? She looked me dead in the eyes. Because I didn't know if I believed him. I didn't want to pull you into something ugly. And I was afraid you'd see me differently. Why? You didn't do anything. She shook her head. It's not about what I did. It's about who I came from. After that, things blurred. We drove home silently. I read through the papers again that night, legal docs, forensic analyses, private investigator logs. It felt absurd. I kept expecting it to end in some twist. Like a Netflix miniseries. But the documents looked real. Too real. And I felt like an idiot. All this time I thought she was cheating. Lying. Betraying. But in truth, she was carrying a burden bigger than betrayal. Still, she'd hidden it from me. Talked to someone secretly. Deleted texts. Drafted confessions in Google Docs instead of to my face. That still stung. The next few days were quiet. She cooked a lot. I worked late. We didn't really talk. Not about that, anyway. It was like we were doing a silent play, trying to reach the end without admitting the plot. Finally, I asked. Do you want to find him? I don't know. What would you say if you did? She paused. I'd ask him why he didn't come back. Why he let my mother write the story. Then she asked me something I didn't expect. Would you come with me? That's where we're at now. We found a lead. A name on one of the bank transfers matched a property manager in Colorado. She's booking tickets next week. Says it might be nothing. Says she understands if I don't want to go. I haven't answered yet. I don't know what this is anymore. A relationship? A story? A reckoning? But I'll probably go. I need to see this man who left her with questions she can barely say out loud. I wish I could tell you that after all that happened, things got easier. That there was closure, healing, some kind of movie-like reconciliation or clean break. But that would be a lie. After Emily's confession, the notebook, the fake name, the burner email account, I was a mess. And not the kind of mess that can be cleaned up with sleep or time off. I'm talking the kind of emotional wreckage that leaves you staring at your own reflection and not recognizing the person on the other side. Let me backtrack a bit. The night she confessed, I left. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just stood there, stunned, while she whispered through sobs that she never meant to fall for him, or for it to go as far as it did. He wasn't even real in the beginning, she said. Just someone she created out of curiosity, to feel, desired. Seen. Heard. It started with her watching videos of people reading Reddit stories, ironically. Lonely people pouring their hearts out. She said she was fascinated, addicted even, to the rawness. Eventually, she started commenting on posts from a throwaway. Giving advice. Flirting. Living, digitally, as a version of herself that didn't have a boyfriend. That didn't have a routine, or grocery lists, or the pressure of being perfect in real life. Then the DM started. She met someone. Some guy, real or not, from another part of the country. He wasn't especially handsome, but he was quick with words. Listened. Asked her questions about her day. And unlike me, he didn't forget to say, thank you, when she cooked or good night, when she was tired. I should have known. I think part of me did. I stayed at my friend Daniel's place for the first few nights after. He didn't ask many questions. Just handed me a beer and put on old movies until I could fall asleep without running scenarios in my head on loop. I hated how quiet everything felt. How loud my guilt was. Was I too inattentive? Too distracted? Too safe? One night, I asked Emily to meet me at the coffee shop where we had our first date. It was pouring, the kind of rain that makes you feel like the world is pressing down on you. She came. Her eyes were tired. Makeup smudged. Her usual perfect ponytail was down, frizzy. She looked human. Broken, maybe more than I was. I've deleted everything, she said before I could say anything. The account. The messages. Even the journal. I nodded. Okay. I know that doesn't fix it. It doesn't, I said. But thank you. We sat in silence for a while. People came and went around us. A girl ordered something with almond milk. A guy argued with the barista over Wi-Fi speed. Life just kept going. As if the world didn't care that ours had completely changed. Why didn't you just talk to me? I finally asked. She looked out the window. I tried. So many times. But every time I started, you were on your phone, or tired, or saying, can we talk later? And then it became easier to talk to someone else who didn't expect anything from me. That hit harder than I expected. I loved you, she added. I still do. I did too, I whispered. She reached across the table to grab my hand, but I pulled away. It wasn't dramatic. Just honest. I couldn't do that anymore. We talked for about an hour. She cried. I didn't. I think my tears were used up days ago. She apologized again, and I told her I appreciated it. I even meant it. We decided not to try again. It wasn't dramatic. No storming out. No slamming doors. We just knew. Some things, once broken, stay broken. You can patch them, sure. Glue the pieces back together. But you'll always see the cracks. The next few weeks were weird. She moved out. Left her copy of The Key on the kitchen counter with a note, "You were my safe place." I'm sorry I forgot that. I found myself reading Reddit stories again. The irony wasn't lost on me. But this time, I wasn't looking for escape. I was looking for understanding. For connection. For some clue as to why people who love each other still find ways to break each other. Daniel invited me on a camping trip not long after. No service. No internet. Just trees and beer and stories around a fire. It was healing, in a way that therapy sometimes isn't. Eventually, I went back to our old apartment. Alone. Rearranged the furniture. Took down our pictures. Deleted shared playlists. Started over. And I started writing. Not for anyone, just for myself. Journaling, mostly. But eventually, I found myself drafting a Reddit post, not out of spite or for validation, but because I needed to say it. To let someone, anyone, know what happened. Not because I'm a victim. Not because she's a villain. But because this is what heartbreak looks like. Quiet. Slow. Complicated. So here I am. Writing this while sitting on the old couch we bought together. There's a coffee stain on the cushion that she always hated, but I never cleaned. I keep it now as a kind of weird reminder, imperfection doesn't always mean it's ruined. Sometimes, it's just part of the story. Will I trust again? I don't know. Will she? I hope so. Do I hate her? No. I think that's the worst part. I miss her. I miss us. But I don't miss the lie that everything was fine. If you're reading this and going through something similar, I don't have advice. Just listen. If your partner says something feels off, even if you don't want to hear it, listen. And don't take love for granted. It's quieter than we think. Easier to lose than we realize. And if you find a notebook filled with someone else's words in your home, ask questions. Even if you're scared of the answers. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Writing this helped more than I thought it would.